So moving on, next we have Gaurav Mehta. Mr. Mehta is the Chief Marketing Officer of Girna Soft, the parent company of partner leading customer internet brands like Car Dekho, Gadi, Zigwheels, Bike Dekho, amongst others. With extensive experience, including his previous employment, CMO of Southeast and General Manager of OLX, he drove OLX to become amongst the most trusted and admired customer internet brands in the country. A postgraduate in brand management and media planning from MICA, Gaurav has diverse experience spanning 18 years, including 12 years as a leading digital business expert in companies such as Yahoo and OLX. So let's welcome Mr. Mehta to learn the tricks of the digital marketing world from the expert himself on the topic how to set up a good digital marketing team internally. Over to you, Mr. Mehta.
Thanks a lot, Mansi. Pleasure to be here. I hope you can hear me.
Uh, yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Post-lunch session's always hard to conduct, but I'll give it my best shot. Firstly, I just hope everybody's comfortable and safe in their houses and just finding newer ways to being productive and happy in these really uncertain times. Um, I'll do my best to share some of my experiences of being in a digital business for the past 12 years. And the topic that I've been asked to talk about is how to set up a digital marketing team internally. Now, I think the way the whole session is broken up, it's about 30 minutes of what I present and 10 to 15 minutes of the questions that you might like to ask me. Um, so when I got this brief, it was a bit hard to actually um, give from A to Z of this particular topic or knowledge of this topic over 30 minutes. So what I've tried to do is just sensitize how to take the right decisions um, about setting up a digital marketing team internally. But first, before we get into that thing, what's the right way of setting up a digital marketing team internally? Um, Let me explain why I think digital marketing is so important. Um, I work in the automobile sector. Car Dekho is the leading automobile site in the country, along with Zigwheels and so on and so forth. 90% of all new cars sold in the country, of 90% of people who buy those cars come on Car Dekho and Zigwheels on a yearly basis. So letting aside the last year, there were about 3.5 million new cars which are sold in the country on an annual basis. So about 3 million to 3.3 million of those new car buyers were already on Car Dekho researching about the cars that they wanted to buy, dropping leads to get in touch with the dealers, checking out the price, photos, reviews, and so on and so forth. So very, very mature category for online consumption. And since the entire audience is on online, it made a lot of sense for us to invest into a digital marketing team very, very aggressively. So so in my previous employment, which was at OLX, where I was the chief marketing officer for OLX South Asia and general manager OLX Pakistan, um, the problem statement was a bit different. Classified as a sector um, is relevant for a very large audience, and only a fraction of them were online, which is where over there, for me, online was the secondary line of attack, and maybe offline marketing was the first one. And that's where I had a much bigger offline marketing team. Offline marketing team would mean TV, radio, the traditional marketing uh, mediums. Whereas at Car Dekho, it's the reverse. Since the audience is already online, we focus a lot on digital marketing. And I've got a digital marketing team set up internally, got about 73 people, plus 40 people in content team. So almost 113 people between content and digital marketing team, which is set up internally. Um, So with that premise, I'll just like go forward with my slides. Mansi, could you go to the next slide, please? Yes, so let's just like do a quick check on insourcing. Insourcing would mean in-house teams versus outsourcing. So I just like jotted down a couple of points, like first being speed to market. Um, so in-house team, if you have an in-house team, your speed to market is much higher, much faster. Um, you can think of something and go to market in a couple of days. Whereas if you're depending on external agencies and freelancers, that go to market time just takes a little bit longer. Um, Cost efficiencies for in-house teams, it's low on manpower because you have to have a number of subject matter experts, but it's very high on media. Now, the thumb rule is that media is a larger cost on the budget lines. So if you were to optimize your larger cost lines, then it's always good on an overall basis. Whereas the agencies have high ROI on manpower, but low on media because they can never optimize the media spends as well as your in-house teams can do. Um, Everybody, I think I was asking Mansi the nature of the audience today on the call. A large number of people today, I'm assuming, are from SMEs or young businesses and so on and so forth. When a company becomes from an SME to a larger company or from a young company to a much more mature company, processes are more important, which is where an in-house team has a better chance of creating processes because they understand the business. They're living and breathing the business on like 24/7. So it's easier for them to create processes and work cross-functionally and help create processes, which will help them become larger businesses. With external agencies, it's a bit low. Industry knowledge is where the external agencies have an upper hand because of the number of industries and clients that an agency serves. They have much more experience or expertise across different industries, which can be borrowed for your company also. In-house teams kind of miss out on that advantage. Um, Economies of scale in terms of tools. There are a lot of like tooling and technology that is required to really optimize and make your digital media efficient and effective. Um, a lot of those tools can be fairly expensive. The entry cost can be very high. So if you have a small size business, then the economies of scale can be high because you have to buy the entire tool by yourself. But if you are going with an agency, if they have bought the tool, then they can just pass on a fraction of that cost towards you, which just means that the economies of scale in terms of tooling and technology can be a little bit lesser, especially for a smaller business. For larger businesses, it's always more prudent to buy these tools and technologies. Um, Access to the larger ecosystem. When I say larger ecosystem, I mean, say, Google, Facebook, um, Twitter, TikTok, all these big digital marketing players. When you're a small company, you don't get the right kind of support from these companies. It's a self-serve model, which means that you have to do everything yourself. So you might not know the best case practices, the newest technologies that these people are coming up with, because of the sheer fact that the companies are small right now. Which is where external agencies again have an upper hand because the amount of spends that they do cumulatively between all their clients is higher, which is why they get an access to the the best practices at Google, Facebook, account managers, and so on, like so on and so forth. So the access to the larger ecosystem is more in favor of external agencies, especially when you have a smaller business. Finding the right talent is a bit hard initially for in-house teams, um, culturally and also from a domain expertise perspective. If there's a really good professional, digital marketing professional, they would rather work in a larger firm or a larger agency versus a smaller firm. Um, the second thing is if you hire a person who is very expensive but not a cultural fit, letting go of a person is always a harder thing. But letting go or asking your agency to shift some people from your team to another team or vice versa is much easier to do. So from just staffing and having the right team, it's a bit easier on the external agencies front than an in-house team of a young organization. Last point I wanted to bring forward for everyone to understand was ability to run integrated marketing campaigns. When I was at OLX, we were very heavily invested into TV, radio, outdoors. There were a lot of campaigns that we were doing. I'd had a lot of celebrities like Kapil Sharma, Allu Arjun, Dhanush, and so on and so forth. The full optimization or the full effect of a big budget marketing campaign comes when each and every facet of your marketing arsenal is firing at the same time. If you just see as digital marketing as being a supporting act, as was the case in OLX, or the leading act, as is the case for Car it's imperative that all these tools actually dovetail into each other. Whereas when the consumer sees any piece of marketing from you, be it on TV, be it on radio, be it on outdoor, be it on search engine, be it on display ads, be it on Facebook video, they all should say the same thing. They should all follow the same theme. And that's where having an in-house digital marketing team scores higher on your ability as a business person or as a marketer to run integrated marketing campaigns. Whereas with an external agency, it's a bit harder because I don't think they ever understand to the tune of 100% about the what other aspects of marketing and business are up to. So I believe there's a question from Mr. Sanjay Bhatia. What is the scale of business one needs to have to think of in-house team? Mr. Bhatia, it can be as small as one person's shop. In fact, I won't name the person, but there's a very, very big educational group today having a lot of universities. I remember meeting him 10 years back, and he was the person who had set up the first of the campuses, and he was saying that he was maxing out 8 credit cards on a daily basis by running search engine marketing ads when the campus was a very, very small, very limited place of education per se. So you can be a one person business who's running a small online jewelry setup. Maybe you are like, making something at home and you just want to bakery. It can be a one person setup also, and your digital marketing team, digital marketing ethos can be totally be feasible. Mr. Sanjay Chaturvedi is asking, what do you think of marketing automation tools such as HubSpot for small business keen to scale? It depends on the size that you have, Mr. Chaturvedi, which is why the point that I made, cost efficiencies, so economies of scale in terms of tools is low for small businesses. But if social media listening, if digital marketing is the key part of how you generate your business results, then I think you should invest. If digital media is the thing that's driving your entire business, then you should be investing totally. I'm always an ardent believer that if for small business, it's imperative that you need to generate revenue on a constant basis. Digital media is attuned to that fact. It's very short term in nature. You start something, you can start seeing the results tomorrow. So if your business dependent on digital marketing to drive a large part of your revenue, then I think from a tool perspective, even HubSpot is a very, very good one for small businesses to adopt. Mr. Nikhil Chogle, any specific education requires a selection of digital marketing employee? So you don't need, if you're the head of the business or a marketing head, I don't think you need to be a subject matter expert, but you need to have an understanding of what the digital marketing tools can deliver for you. So there's no particular education per se, but like Google and Facebook, they have a lot of, they have an online academy or university where they actually expose you to the basics and the fundamentals of digital marketing, search engine marketing, video, and so on, so have you. So I will always propose that you were to go through those courses. They're free, they're online, they're open to all. They'll give you at least an understanding of what to ask of a digital marketing subject matter expert. Saurabh Negi, how important is it to check cultural fit while it's quite a good question. It's hugely, hugely important. to checking for cultural fit while building internal teams, especially for a young business. The reason why I say that is um, cultural fit can be two ways. I mean, one is obviously this person needs to be at ease with uh, flux and ever-changing business dynamics. If a person is much more steadfast in his or her view that this is the only way things can be done, then that guy might not be such a good digital marketer or good for the internal teams. So I'll always look at people who are at ease with constant change. The second thing, from a cultural perspective, from a skill set perspective, of is how uh, much at ease are they with data. Now, I'm not asking about, say, a maths PhD and so on and so forth, but to make logical conclusions from the data presented to them is an integral part of a digital marketer's life. Internal teams need to play a lot with data, of your Google Analytics data, of your different reporting tools, and so on and so forth, of your ad serving tools. So there's a lot of data that needs to be created from different sources and then made some logic out of. So that's another cultural skill fit for building internal digital marketing teams, which is why whenever I hire, I always look out for the cultural fitments on some parameters.
So Gaurav, hi, this is Ratish Pandey.
Yeah.
You can carry on with your presentation and then I will moderate all the questions once you're done with your presentation.
Fair enough. Once you go to the next slide, please. So just yeah, it can be like this. I notice you do all your marketing in-house. I do like to live dangerously. It's a double-edged sword. If you can control and this entire effort, then it pays you back multiple folds. But then getting the right structure and knowing why are you deploying that is super crucial, and I'll tackle that in the next few slides. Next slide, please, Mansi. So what's the right approach to creating a digital team internally? In the first slide, we saw that what are the advantages for an internal team versus an external team. Now we are saying, okay, we are going to have an internal team because these are the important things. So what's the right approach? Next slide. And what if I told you it just depends? There's no single right approach towards creating a digital marketing team. But what I've tried to do on the next slide is just give an understanding of how maybe my digital marketing teams look like. And then I'll help you understand how some of this might not be relevant for some of you and some of them might be more relevant. So it's a organizational chart. So maybe under me, there'll be a director of digital marketing person, and below her, there'll be like 4 department heads. First one being design team, the second one being the head of paid marketing, the third person being head of content and social media. I would also tag this as the person who's looking after own media, own and earned media. Head of paid marketing is the paid media person. And analytics and business intelligence would be the 4th person. So this is like typically at least the bare minimum requirement for a full-blown player in the industry. Design team will have a person who's doing banners, graphics, email, HTMLization, working with the product teams on user interfaces, and so on and so forth. Head of paid marketing will have a Google specialist, a person who understands search engine marketing, display video 360, YouTube, Google display networks. I won't go into too much details, but these are all different ways to market on the Google ecosystem. Let me put it this way. They might be a Facebook ecosystem expert. So people who are subject matter experts on Facebook, Facebook Exchange, Instagram, and so on and so forth. There is something which is coming up very, very strongly called programmatic marketing. For large, full-blown businesses, this is a must-have. Email marketing is something that a small business can sink their teeth into very, very rapidly. Affiliate marketing is another channel where a young business can totally opt in for this function of digital marketing. And as you go further down the evolution of the business, mobile marketing specialists can be a good investment, because it's not just like getting an app download. It's also about like working with players like Airtel, Vodafone, Geo or OEM manufacturers like Samsung, Xiaomi, and so on and so forth to have your apps burned on their real estate. I mean, if you were to say buy a Samsung phone, you'll always have some apps which are already pre-burnt on the app which can't be deleted. These are partnerships that these mobile specialists actually drive. That, hey, you know what? I'll pay you, say, XYZ rupees to have my app on your phone, which can be deleted. And these kind of partnerships. And they do these partnerships with telecom players also, apart from mobile marketing on the mobile digital marketing ecosystem. Then I come to the head for content and social media. In my mind, this is a person who's driving a lot of free digital marketing initiatives. Basically, the people who, through the first person under them is content team and SEO experts, through a lot of content generation and through a lot of SEO optimization, you can get a lot of free traffic coming onto your site. This is again a must-have for like a company which has just gone past the first few milestones. A great place to start your digital marketing journey with, because this is all free traffic if you can optimize really strongly. Social media experts who are actually creating an engagement with your audience. If you're a B2C company or a B2B company, doesn't matter. Social media doesn't mean only Facebook or silly cat videos, but how can you actually dominate mediums like LinkedIn and so on and so forth is also something which this person does. Then I come on to own media would be like, you know, if you're a digital player, you will have your own sites and apps and on which people come. Can you actually send SMS to them if they have dropped their phone numbers with you? On-site marketing, when a person comes, show him this banner. App pushes, if that person has your app, can you systematically push messages through app, which makes that person come back again? And again, all these are free to do that. So again, this head for content and social media pod is all about generating a lot of traffic and good traction on your side in a non-paid manner. The last one is analytics and BI, which means this person or this particular department works a lot with data and helps the other departments just know what exactly is happening and what they intend to do. They are supported across by technology, user experience and user interface teams, product teams, the common tools and automation as and when the business is of that scale, where a lot of things can be automated through AI and ML. Like to give you an example, a lot of our campaigns, and we run a huge number of campaigns on a daily basis, are automated. So we don't have to create those campaigns on AdWords or Facebook Ad Manager. Our engines do that for us once we give them the basic information. Or any ad that is run on say a display ad requires to be rendered in 32 different sizes. We automate that rather than a designer making 32 variations of the same ad. We automate that. So a lot of automation through AI, ML, normal code-based tools is something which will support the entire gamut of your digital marketing. So this is maybe a reflection, or this is maybe a synopsis of how my marketing team would be looking like, my digital marketing team would be looking like. Obviously, not everything will be relevant for everyone on this call, but what I wanted to do was like, this is how typically people look at it. So at least get the theme that BI analytics is super crucial. You need to like almost bifurcate your marketing to free and paid. And then depending on the scale or the budgets that you want to deploy, you can choose from these kind of skill sets to hire. And design team is something which is fairly crucial depending on the kind of industries that you're in. Next slide, please, Mansi. So now the question is, you know, what kind of like, you know, people are there in the digital marketing teams? What are its advantages versus an agency? So is it the right time to implement this? Next slide. But again, one size does not simply fit all. Like the marketing structure that I just showed you is maybe for Car Dekho ecosystem, where we deploy tens or millions of dollars in a year. And that might not be relevant for everyone. So how do you like really understand how to, and again, I'm like, at the fault of being wrong, I'm assuming that a lot of people on the call might not be digital marketing experts. So how do you like actually go and start thinking about, okay, I need to in-house my digital marketing team, but who are the first few people that I go and hire? Yeah, so what I've done is, yeah, I've just like gamified over the next few slides. Since it's not interactive right now, so what I'll do is, when I go into the next slide, there'll be two options. I leave it to you to decide which is the right option, and I'll show you which is the right option. But at the end of the discussion, maybe you can see how many of them you got right. So Mansi, next slide, please. So a business situation where short-term targets are more crucial. Yeah, where it's almost like, you know what, I'm like on a daily basis, I have to hit my numbers. On a daily basis, I have to generate revenue. The two options that you have in front of you is search engine marketing and YouTube or Facebook video advertising. Since we are not interacting, I'll just give you the right answer. Click, please. Yeah, so search engine marketing would be the right one over here, because search engine marketing gives you an instant result. And you're generating traffic / revenue on a very, very quick turnaround basis. YouTube, Facebook video advertising is more long-term in nature. It helps build your brand, but it doesn't give you the necessary traffic or revenue or whatever metrics are important in the short term on an instant basis. So what I'm just trying to do is simplify questions that you might be facing in your day-to-day business life, and just giving some very simple answers to get your thought process going. Next slide, please. So you are in a lifestyle business. Maybe you are selling clothes, jewelry, cosmetics. The two people that you have a budget to hire only one person, and the option in front of you is there's a social media expert or a programmatic guy. Okay, so Mansi is saying that you can, yeah, maybe on chat, if you guys can just put your observations up, everyone who's on the call. So I'm getting some SME, A, social media expert, SME. Yeah, so I think I'm like, it's programmatic, SME. Yeah, so I think a lot of you are getting this right. I also would, click please, Mansi. Yeah, social media experts, lifestyle is an imagery driven business. Social media is where a lot of people engage these kind of content pieces, fashion, lifestyle, beauty, travel, and so on and so forth. So you need to like invest in a social media expert versus a programmatic guy who can come at a later stage. Next slide, please. Your growth has plateaued and there's a strong player already in the ecosystem. So let me just like give you the situation a little bit more detailed. Suppose let's take the travel industry. There's already a Make My Trip who's captured the large part of the domestic travel tickets. You're a young online travel agency, and where would you invest? Would you invest in SEO, search engine optimization, or video advertising? Again, it'll be great if you can. So I'm getting answers: VA, video advertising, video, SEO, VA, SEO, SEO, VA, SEO, video, SEO, VA. Cool. So over here now I'm getting like mixed answers, and that's fairly understandable. So what I'm trying to do is have you make one choice only, because both of them are right. But if you had to make a brutal choice, if you had limited budgets, whom would you like, what would you invest in? I'm like, my answer would be, if you can just click next, let's see, more towards video advertising, because this helps you build your brand, which in terms helps people search for you directly or go on your site or download your apps directly, bypassing Google as an ecosystem. Because this is a mature industry, at best, you can gain a few percentage points by going on SEM and SEO and being really, really good at it. But for the next big wave of growth or increase in the industry, you have to make the non-users of this industry come onto the industry, which is where brand building efforts are much required. It's not that SEO is not required, but then a brutal choice that you have to choose between the two, then I would rather go towards brand building through video. Next slide, please. You are in a hyper growth sector where you're growing like 20% month on month and so on and so forth. Where would you go? Where would you invest? Tech teams or BI analytics team? Tech team, BI, tech, BI analytics. Cool. Click please, Mansi. This is a little bit of a googly. I think I'm like, BI analytics teams can't work without the tech teams, and tech teams by itself can't give as much result. These are typically teams who work hand in hand. So which is where I would always have an extra investment on both these teams because a lot of coding, a lot of implementation, a lot of analysis can only be possible if both these teams are there. So if you're growing really fast, do invest on both these fronts. Next slide, please. You need to cross-sell to increase lifetime value. You're already selling well. You already have a loyal base of customers. Where would you invest? Own media specialists or paid media specialists? You have to increase the lifetime value of the person you have already acquired in the past. Paid media, own media, PMS, OMS, paid media, own, paid, own, A, own, paid. Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit towards own, and I think that's the right answer. If you will just click. Why? Because you already have these people who have engaged with you, and maybe as a business you have not just one thing to sell, but like 5 or 6 different things to sell. So you have already sold one thing to that person, but you know that this person can also buy 2 or 3 more things because of your analysis of what you've seen from a consumer behavior perspective. The first port of call should be, how do you use your SMSs, app pushes, your on-site marketing to make sure that when this person comes back or is asked to return back, they're also going on to other categories. This is something we use very, very strongly when I was at OLX. A lot of people used to come into the mobile phones category, but then we used to cross-sell them to say furniture, TV, books, the smaller categories. And we were like, very frankly, getting all those people to put leads without incurring any cost. So yeah, so over here, I would rather focus more on own media specialists. As and when you need to go back and get new users, then I think paid media becomes much more important. But right now, the problem statement is cross-selling. Cross-selling is always done on an existing customer, which is why. So yeah, I think I've been within my time. And yeah, this is what I wanted to share with everyone. Just a quick understanding and the kind of problem statements that you might be facing on a day-to-day basis. And in my experience, this is what I have learned and which I just try to quickly sensitize you about. It'll be good to get some questions if there's time.
Sure, Gaurav. Thank you for a very insightful session. And the gamification really, I think, got the audience hooked on to the message that you wanted to get across. I think that was fantastic. There are a whole bunch of questions, as I can imagine. Today, everybody who's in business wants to get onto digital marketing. So let me start with some that came in early on and we missed them out. So here's the first question that comes your way. Should we look at freelancers for various domains? If yes, where is the best place to find them?
So freelancers, are we talking about just like freelancers who basically outsourcing or?
Yeah, exactly. Outsourcing.
Yeah. So So freelancers are a great option to at least get the digital marketing thing up and going. Hiring someone, and again, I think to Mr. Saurabh Negi's question earlier, cultural fit is a bit harder, but then freelancers is a good way for a person to just like start with digital marketing. LinkedIn is a great place. I know of a couple of friends who've just started their own online businesses and family members also. And it's been a great place to, for us to get some freelancers in. And I would start from there. Um, Network is always a great place to get them. But then I would say that if you just want to understand what digital marketing do, opt for freelancers at least first, and then basis that build out a digital marketing team internally or externally if you wish to.
Great. And that leads me to the exact next question. What's the minimum team size and experience for making an in-house team?
It just depends. I'm like, which is why I said that it just depends. And which is why I was gamifying this entire thing, because everybody's situation is unique. As I said, today I have a content and marketing team of 113 people. OLX had 4 people with a lot of like automation and so on and so forth. I bought a lot of Adobe tools and so on and so forth, because over there my focus was more on TV. Over here, my focus is more on digital marketing. So it just depends. There's no right answer to this one. But again, if I were to just give a situation, suppose you just started, you've been in the business for about a year, you're generating revenue. So the proof of concept stage has been well and truly passed. I would always say that like invest in SEO and SEM specialists for sure, a tech person and a BI person. These 4 should be a minimum investments to start with on that situation.
Sure, great. Another question coming, which probably this person has clients himself. He's saying how to control clients who wish to do social media themselves after a while. Which means,
yeah. This is a great question, because as a client, maybe one of the areas where there's a lot of nebulous, there's a lot of like gray areas, maybe social media for me also personally. But what we're trying to do is make the results as tangible as is possible. What does a like mean? What does a share mean? If your agency is creating something which is making sure there's a lot of engagement happening, how do you translate that into something which the business owner can understand? Because a like, 1,000 like, a million likes has no currency, has no common currency with the business owner. So I think there are 2 agencies I always work very closely with in terms of like making sure that there's much more tangibility about the results, which is PR and social media. And that's what I would say. How can you actually demystify the matrix, the social media matrix, into a business matrix? That's how a client will always hold you in high esteem and retain and work more closely with you.
great. So here is a problem question for you. The question is, we are a mid-size office furniture product company having our internal team members to manage digital marketing.
Sure.
However, how do you go about content, creatives, and collaterals?
Okay, so having an internal team member administering social. Okay, and it's a furniture company. There are a lot of freelancers who actually help with content creation. They work, if you're like, suppose investing into written piece, then they actually charge you per word written, and they can fairly quickly give you a lot of content which your SEO teams can optimize and get a lot of traction on. Creatives and collateral, a lot of freelancers. So I think, again, going back to the first question that we asked Ratish post the session about freelancers.
Yep.
Some of the areas where freelancers are many. And that's where I think it can be really good for anyone to get them to help out with this facet of marketing.
Great, thank you. Another question comes on should sales team closely work with digital marketing team? I know the answer, but I'll let you answer that one. the relevance of digital marketing in IT service industry?
Oh, for a B2B company, it is not only important, it's crucial, imperative that the sales teams work with the digital marketing teams. Just imagine a scenario where your sales cycle is about 3 to 6 months long. You have your pre-sales teams and you have your sales team and then your account management. So it's almost like 3 teams that are working on the client. But what a person should always make sure is how can you actually do a lot of work in the background apart from these 3 teams also. A lot of content marketing can be very, very crucial for a B2B industry where your sales cycles are 3 to 6 months long. To give you an example, if you are the purchase manager or the CTO of a big firm who wants to buy a server, can the content marketing teams of the vendor or of the company that we are talking about or whom we are representing as a digital marketing company create a lot of content on the same thing, and through contextual targeting, through content marketing, we can have that person see and watch a lot of content that we are producing. That just helps the the pre-sales, sales and account managers job a lot. It also helps them cross-sell and upsell also. And so yeah, super, super crucial that the digital marketing teams and the sales teams work closely with each other.
Thank you, Gaurav. The next question comes on geolocation. So what's your opinion on geolocation marketing using Google AdWords for an engineering services company?
If my understanding of engineering services is like the tech-enabled engineering services, again, it is a B2B. It's a little bit, I mean, look, everything is relevant, but in this case, it might be a little bit less relevant. Because if you're a B2B player, I'm assuming that for an engineering services company, you will know where your clients are, who are your top 100 clients, and which is where it's a bit easy to get the conversation going with them. And just to like go back to the previous question where the example I was giving was maybe the right example for this question also. Maybe geo is not required. Maybe contextual and moment marketing is more crucial than location in this sense. So it is good to have, but not a must have.
Okay, Gaurav, there's tons coming in, but we'll take the last question in interest of time. So this one is from a manufacturing packaging machinery company.
Okay.
Questions. What's the best online strategy for us? And as a machinery manufacturer with over 30 years experience, different machine models and export market, should we have an in-house or an outsourced team?
I would, again, a B2B setup. B2B setup would give me the understanding that you know your consumers fairly well, their needs very well. I would actually veer towards internal marketing teams with a huge focus on content, SEO, and then B2B marketing setups. There are a lot of things that can be done. I don't think we have the time and the necessary information on my part to answer that in totality. But just like an instinctive understanding of the sector that you spoke about, I would have an in-house team with a lot of focus on content. Yeah, that will be a lot of, that's where I'll make a number of investments.
Thank you, Gaurav, for your time today. Last comments, closing comments. But before that, thank you indeed for a very transparent, open discussion that you had about your internal team and how you're looking at digital marketing internally. But any closing comments that you would have, we would really welcome that.
Sure, Atish. So I think marketing as such, I'm like, you know, whosoever is investing in marketing or is responsible for marketing on the call, the only thing that I would like to say is that marketing is just a tool to get the business result. And which is where we all need to know what is the right business problem because of which you can deploy ABC and not DEF. A lot of marketers, what they do is that they'll deploy pretty much everything at their disposal without really understanding the problem. So let's understand this first, that as a marketer, you are a business person first who has marketing tools at your disposal, rather than a person who's just like, say, looking for vanity metrics like likes or CTR, click-through rates, and so on and so forth. You have to translate them into business results for the larger ecosystem or the company, or and so on and so forth. Digital marketing can be very, very effective. I have used this very strongly in the past 7-8 years at Cardeko and at OLX. So, and started my digital journey at Yahoo. So for the past 12 years, I've been seeing how digital marketing has evolved. It's not about digital marketing only, it's about digital business management. So the second question that everybody should be asking once they are convinced about digital marketing is that how do I actually run a digital business, or how to run a business digitally? I think that's the larger question. As a marketer, as a business person, I'll leave to everyone on the call to think about.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta, for taking out time and making this possible for us. It was a great and insightful session. And I'm sure a lot of them got really good tips from this, from the session today. Here we have a token of gratitude for you from our side for attending the session and giving us all of this knowledge.
Thank you, Ms. John. Thank you for inviting me, and all the very best to everyone on the call, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.